Hello, and welcome to CHUB Cast, where we review 2 albums an episode spanning across a multitude of genres, with your hosts.
My name is Zach Smith, and I'm the bassist.
And I'm Ben, and I'm the vocalist. Ooh.
The one who plays the guitar is me, Greg.
I'm Kyle, and I hit stuff with sticks.
All the way from Brighton, UK, combined, we make up the band CHUB. I hope you enjoy the podcast.
Hello, and welcome to CHUB Cast episode... Oh no, this is a good start. 13? 12?
13.
13,
13.
yes. Episode 13, the unlucky one. Hence why we have Tim here. Our... I don't know where...
Oh, shit.
Oh, no, I'm unlucky, by the way.
We, as you can probably tell, we have got a new person here today. The next 2 episodes, we will be joined with one of our oldest friends, Tim, who has been commenting on every single Chubcast, I think, and listening along.
The original Tim of the Week.
Tim of the Week.
Yeah, I wouldn't say every single one. I think I jumped in about episode 4 or 5. I think
You should probably go back to the first 2. And...
Yeah, you gotta do them.
How are you?
You gotta go for 100% completion.
All right. How are you, Tim?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. Happy to be here.
Ben has sunk.
Recommending my album, which is
well,
take a
Tim.
moment.
Last episode recommended
Must be
Gang
honoured.
Gang Dance, their album Eye Contact. I recommended Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast, and Kyle recommended Moonchild's Voyager. And that's what we're going to discuss this week. As usual, socials are in the links below. Go check them out, subscribe, like, and all that shit. Let's jump straight into...
Chub the band. Chub the band. Hashtag chub.
Chub the band. Chub the band. Yeah. I think that's it.
Tim the band, hit Tim up at Tim the band.
No, I don't. So that's not a thing.
It is.
For some poor guy who's going to get inundated by people. Inundated by all people.
All right.
Probably me.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna start a spin-off podcast that's gonna be bigger than ours. And then Tim the band
Where
will
did you
become
start?
very
Oh,
well.
well.
Going to be
This
persona
episode
to
did like
Shin
10,000
Megami.
views.
Yeah. Everyone's here for that fucking sweet Tim content.
No, actually, this is the moment where it went downhill. It's the exact episode, like people do with The Simpsons, where they're like, "Oh, this is the exact one where it died."
Yeah. This is the one where
Zombie
Skinner...
Chubcast.
This is the one where
Turning
Skinner
point.
goes back on his entire character development. Turns out he's just like in disguise or some shit. I think
Some random guy.
that's the episode where people
Oh, yeah.
say the Simpsons
Yeah.
got shit.
Right, now we've got the
All
Simpsons
right.
crowd going. You put that in the tag.
Iron
Yeah.
Maiden, Number of the Beast, was my decision. I am making a little retrospective series on Maiden Metal because I can't go outside and vlog gigs, which was the whole fucking point of Maiden Metal. So I'm just like messing around with that channel, seeing what sticks. And I'm doing a little retrospective on Iron Maiden. So I'm going to use this podcast.
So you're using us.
I am indeed. I'm going to use what you guys say and
Any
put it into
different
that retrospective on occasion.
I'll give you nothing.
Well, that'd be a good podcast.
I refuse to talk now.
So that's why I chose it. Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. It released in 1982, and it is arguably their best album, or... You know, they've done so many fucking albums now, but like most people go to that, or Power Slave, I think is the other one that's like arguably like, you know, it's one of those two usually. But this one is just a fucking stonker of an album. Greg and I put this on in the car on the way home from band practice, and it just blew our wee little minds. Right, I'm gonna pick on Tim.
There you go.
New boy.
All right, I mean, so obviously it's probably been a while, if not like an eternity, since I actually listened to this as it was. Like, you know how you get it, and then you get smashed in with everything else in your shuffle, and it's there's some stuff that comes up and some stuff that doesn't. But yeah, it was a strange one.
Why
It's a
was
lot
it a strange
faster
one?
than I remember. It's a lot faster than I remember, and it starts like it goes straight into it straight away, and then after that it just drops off into
Children of the
Oh,
Damned.
that's it, and then it's like Invaders where it starts, right? And then
Yeah.
it's super fast, and then it goes straight into Children, and I'm just like, wait, were they this disorganized back then? That is,
I guess they
That
never
is
really
just a little
thought
bit
about it. I
weird.
don't know.
It's pretty random change. Children of
But yeah,
the
I
Damned
mean-
is like one of the slowest songs.
Mm.
I
It was a
mean,
weird
if you
choice
have to
for the
ask,
second song on the album.
I think if you had to ask what was like what's an Maiden album, it's obviously probably this one, isn't it? Although
Yeah.
myself, I used to listen to Killers.
Oh yeah, their second album, right?
Yeah, the second album. This one before this one.
That was the one I used to really listen to a lot.
Yeah.
But
This was their
this one's
first
not
one
bad.
with Bruce Dickinson, wasn't it?
Who was
Is
their
it?
original
I don't
singer?
know.
Oh fuck! I know this. I did so much research. Why can't I remember fun
Was
facts?
it Paul Diano?
That's
Paul
it.
Diano,
Paul.
right?
Yeah. He was more of like a punky vibes and didn't really suit the band, and he left because
Yeah.
he couldn't hack touring, basically.
I've never listened to Killers. Never.
I think it's not that great, but
I
Yeah, I think.
think it's really good.
yeah,
I
that's the
actually
beauty
got-
of
actually
Iron
did-
Maiden.
Well, I did
Yeah,
quite
exactly.
like the old singer, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
I mean the first album
get-
was really good.
I've already like co-opted your thing and talked about Killers rather than the actual album.
That's fine. Well, I can use all of this for the retrospective.
Yeah.
I'll use it.
I'm using you.
All for the right oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably has a decent amount of variety on it. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to load my notes because my computer just crashed.
Oh no.
Fuck.
Well, John has to come
Yeah,
back
Which
to
is
you
never
while
done
it's
before.
loading.
No, it's alright. It's alright. We're good.
You're
The
just
amount of
stalling
Okay.
the whole time.
difficulties I've had during this podcast.
I was
Ridiculous.
trying to stall a little bit. That's why I talked about Killers, an album I do know very well. So, yeah, things I just wrote about it was the it basically has, I would say, one or two tracks.
One or two.
One or
What?
two bad tracks.
Yeah, weaker tracks is probably
Yeah.
more of a fair thing.
What
That's
were
the
those tracks?
22 Acacia Avenue, is it? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Wasn't
I'd say
wasn't
the
a great fan of that one. It was
Yeah.
alright, but and Gangland, just because it's, I don't know. I mean, I obviously listen to rap and stuff as well. So when you get a song like Gangland, you're just like, but
You're like, where's the
but
gang?
you're a metal band. What are you doing here?
Fucking Bruce Dickinson belting it out in a do-rag and shit. Like,
Yeah, I was just like, it's a little bit like.
you,
so I
you know,
think
he
that's-
runs on stage with a flag dressed as like a trooper. He just runs on stage
Oh,
with a
yeah.
do-rag and an Uzi above his head or something.
It is a bit weird that that song is followed by "Hallowed Be Thy Name,"
Which is like,
It's like-
yeah.
much more
I was-
Iron Maiden-y.
I don't know about you guys, but just to drop in, I think Invaders is a really random meh start to this album.
I agree.
Really?
Yeah,
I really liked
Yeah.
Invaders. I had never heard it before this listen through. It was one of my favorite tracks on the album.
Really?
Yeah, I
thought
mean,
it-
that was
Hmm.
that was one of the ones I had on like shuffle and like that would come up. The Prisoner's quite good, if only
Yeah.
because of the intro.
Yeah, I like the chorus in Prisoner as well. I just
Yeah.
love the way
It's
he
just-
sings it.
Just that intro with "You are number 2," where it is. And I just
I am,
was
I am a free man.
"You are number 8," but I thought I was number 2. No, you're number 6. He's number 4. I forget where that's from.
What's that from?
So yeah, it reminded me of that.
From a British
somebody
TV
was-
show called The Prisoner.
Ah,
Yeah. So I think somebody,
that makes sense.
Ah,
one of the funny cartoons, took the mick out of that quite well. Where they were mocking about how you just change numbers.
Oh yeah.
I think it was a cartoon anyway. Somebody took the piss out of it, comedian anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only other thing I would say is like going on that with the whole starting on Invaders and then going off on a tangent sort of thing. It doesn't really have an overall theme.
No,
Mm,
not
no.
necessarily.
It's sort of like
Yeah,
not
or much of a
thematically.
structure.
Like in terms of its like tracks, the tracks are quite similar, but like the overall sort of thing is a bit like, well, where are we going with some of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
That
think
could
this is
probably be like a
basically, like-
product of its time, maybe.
Yeah, I think this is like the album where Maiden were really starting to find their feet and do more like varied and sort of conceptual songs.
Yeah,
Mm.
because the next album, Peace of Mind, is when Mick joined the band, and they literally found that like core Iron Maiden that you have today. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like it's just one of those things. If you're gonna call an album like Number of the Beast, it's such like an evocative kind of phrase. I mean, maybe it is just because of this album, but you always kind of like you imagine it's more to do with sort of like demonic devils, you know, maybe
Yeah.
fecal demons or something.
I feel like they only make it's Nico, not Mick.
Nico
Yeah,
McBrain.
yeah, that's it. And
That's the one.
two, I feel like they called it Number of the Beast to like get up onto this like hype of Christians calling metal bands out as Satanists to get more traction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely like had a lot of controversy in like the Bible Belt.
Yeah,
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
well, that's when they had
was-
they had the drummer dress up in the devil costume, didn't they?
Did they?
Oh really?
But I think that's what they said. I saw a thing on Sky not too long ago, and they was like, "Oh yeah," they wanted to know what they're going to do for the video for it, and they were just like, "Oh, just throw him in the devil suit and have him just kind of generally go around kind of menacingly." And they were like, "There we go. That's it. Whilst we perform, there we go. It's done." And they
Yeah.
do that kind of weird slow mo as he jumps down in like this weird, almost skin tight looking devil suit. I was like, they're definitely up to something back then.
I was thinking, one of the notes I made for this album was like, it's weird looking back on this and thinking about all the directions that metal has gone in since.
Yeah.
And, like how this album was really controversial back in the day, but now it's like not quaint, but it's like something loves, and there's no qualms about it. But I was imagining those same like ye olde Mary Whitehouse Christians who got pissed off about this album. What would they think if you went back in time and showed them like anal cunt or something?
Yeah. Showed
Yeah,
them, like,
yeah,
fucking-
Their heads would
showed,
explode.
showed them wet ass pussy and said like it's on the.
They'd probably crucify you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if they were
This is
literally
mainstream
They'd be like
music
on
now.
his bed.
What
they
were
were
you
literally
saying, Ben?
complaining about those tiny things like that now we kind of find a bit novel. Yeah,
Yeah.
like Greg
Yeah.
said, like showing them stuff from nowadays would just be like it would have literally killed them all.
No, no more.
They were like, you
Heart
can't
attack
dress a
as
man
well.
in a devil suit. That's blasphemy.
That's scary. Think of the children.
Think of the children of the damned. Well,
Children of religious nuts are children of the damned.
Tim, any other notes
Yeah.
you want to throw out
Well,
there?
it's the only thing I just said is that it has a technicality without losing its directness.
Mm.
Just like I suppose, basically what I meant by it was that they managed to add like guitar solos and stuff without them sort of just being like, oh yeah, there's a space for a guitar solo, if I just wedge it in here. It was a case of like it sort of flows well into that without taking away from the song. It manages to like make it part of it as opposed to going, that's this part of the song. Now here's the solo. Now we go back to the song. Which I think a lot of more modern music is kind of lacking in a way. I don't think they'd really know how to do that as well.
Well, what
That was
me and
something I
Greg
wrote down
were
as
saying,
well.
how in the car, because we had it really loud, and the bass, Steve Harris's bass, just fucking drives this album.
Yeah.
It
Me and
just
Carl was saying
doesn't
the
stop
same
driving.
thing.
Yeah.
It was the biggest surprise for me was his
Yeah.
fucking how on bass.
You know,
I
he
really
plays
didn't
like that.
realize before.
He doesn't use a pick or anything. He just proper like
Yeah,
goes fucking hell, man.
it's nuts.
Yeah, he.
There's so
Man's
many
man.
I was gonna say
driven
like.
riffs on this album.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the like king of the band as well. I was saying to Ben like, back then like, hardly any. I mean, there would have been like funk and stuff with the bass is prominent, but most like popular music wouldn't have had like really prominent bass. But in every single one of these songs, you literally can't ignore it. It's like louder than the guitars a lot of the time, the bass.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I was saying to Ben, it's kind of like some songs, instead of having a lead guitar, it literally has like a lead bass.
Bass,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
And, like,
what me and Greg
yeah.
said.
Literally, like
Yeah,
the
the guitar's,
guitar's
like, following.
providing like the rhythm or something, but the bass is doing like
Mm.
the actual main riff. Yeah, it's really
It's so
interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a really great tone as well, where like, because there's no like attack on the sound that he's getting. You know, attack is like when you can hear the string being plucked. It all just, it's a very smooth tone that he has, so it just blends together, and that's what made it so subtle and like almost. I didn't notice it until I sat down and listened to this album, because it's there all the way through and it doesn't get right in your face, but once you hear it, you're like, oh my god, it's like the main drive of the album is his bass.
Yeah, for sure.
Yay! Woo, bassists!
I think Steve Harris probably deserves more recognition as like a bass icon. I don't hear many people going like, "Oh, Steve Harris, fucking sick," but
He's daddy bassist to me. He's incredible. When I tried to learn
Big
Hill's
Daddy bass.
Number of the Beast, and I was just like, this is madness. And then I watched a load of like bassists on YouTube talking about him. I was just like, oh my god, he really is just the man.
he writes so many of the riffs and stuff, and like writes loads of the lyrics too, and conceptualizes a lot of the stuff. He literally is just like, I'd say he's probably like, well, more so Bruce Dickinson these days, but he definitely, at least back then, was like the driving force of the band.
Yeah, well, he started the band. In my research, I found that he basically like started the band, and it literally took him like 5 years to find the band that he wanted. Apparently, he went through like 30 or 40 guitarists before he found guitarists that can actually play melodies well and not talk back to him. So yeah, the first like 4 Iron Maiden's albums up until Peace of Mind were just, you know, different musicians coming in and out, and until Steve found his full band.
Bless him.
But actually, that's what I wanted to say. Oh, sorry, Greg. I'm just going to quickly say how the bass that you mentioned, Tim, and how the guitar solos just flow in. I reckon the reason why the guitar solos just flow in is because that bass and just never stops. So it makes it feel more flowy. Maybe.
Yeah, it could well be. I think a lot of bands nowadays don't have like I suppose they don't have like the kind of bassists that are willing to sort of stick out. Because there's a lot of times where bassists are kind of like, oh, you know, let me just do the backing stuff, and then I'll just leave by the back door on the way out. You know.
Yeah.
They're kind of just like, I want to be known as adequate.
I mean, that's why I started playing bass, because I get stage fright. So I was like, I'm going to learn an instrument where no one will look at me.
Well, you know, I think he's probably a good role model in terms of you can actually have a bigger impact than you realise. After the fact, people are going to go. It just has it has a quality to it where it flows really well, and it's you're probably right. It's probably to do with his bass playing.
Can I
Greg,
just point out?
I was going to say.
Sorry, I was just going to say something silly. It was just as Zach says, "Oh, I only picked up bass because then people wouldn't watch me play." And then you're the same guy who every time you get drunk walk around like, "I'm the bassist," to like.
I am the bassist. It's the only way they'll know.
And be like, shit, Zach was there.
I'm quite a quiet person. I don't wear loud clothes or anything. So
God, I'm the bassist, but don't look at me when I'm on stage.
I don't wear loud clothes. He's wearing like Pikachu, Pokemon all over.
Greg, what you saying? You were gonna say something.
I was gonna give another example. The bassist from Protest the Hero is also, or he's left now, but he was also the guy who wrote most of the music and had a massive impact. So I was just going to add to Ben's point that, you know, just because you're a bassist doesn't mean that you got to give up.
Yeah, I think Nicky Six wrote a lot of Motley Crue songs. So,
yeah, he wrote like most of them, I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben, you're being quiet. got any notage?
I was waiting my turn.
No, it's a free for all now.
Echoing all the other points that were already made. Yeah, the bass was great. As a vocalist, I delved into the lyrics quite a lot. I really, really appreciate the structure of how simplistic the choruses really are if you're really thinking about it, because it's not necessarily just like, you know, like 6 stanzas or anything like that. Like, I mean, their most famous song, like Number of the Beast, literally like the title track of the album, just has 2 lines. That's it. Like, it's 666, Number of the Beast, and then whatever the bit is, because obviously it changed from chorus to chorus, and then that's it. Like, and it's just so good, cuts to the chase.
It's the same with like Run to the Hills. Run to the Hills is just Run to the Hills,
Run for your life.
But it sounds so good, like it just.
Yeah.
Along with his drumming, they go. Run to.
Yeah.
Oh, so
all of their songs are pretty much like that, where like it doesn't need to be like anything bigger than it is, and like from like song structure, like a lot of the kind of like lyricism and stuff is left to the kind of verses where the guitars and everything are kind of like playing along with it. So like it's kind of, yeah, it made me definitely like rethink a lot of like song structure and writing, which was really, really cool. I was actually gonna, this is a bit of a dick sucking sesh, so I'm gonna come in here with a fucking wrecking ball and say, yeah, it was good. But I think because what like Carl mentioned before, because it's like one of the granddaddies of metal, and it's like one of like the most like influential albums and everything like that. Like I was like, oh, I like all of these songs, but like my like was just a like, and that was about it. Like it wasn't like apart from like The Number of the Beast and Run to the Hills, which obviously are their like best songs.
Yeah, we're both
on this album, or they're like their singles. All the rest I really enjoyed, but it was just like a good.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like like or anything at all, and I felt like it's because like we've seen and like heard so many like Iron Maiden like just like albums, songs, and we've seen them live like dozens of times and everything like that. Like
on other bands as well. Like we'll have heard like basically essence of Iron Maiden and loads of other bands.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean in that respect.
That's something I was going to point out, is that like you meet loads of people and they're like, I don't get why the Beatles are so famous. They're just pretty generic, really. And it's like, well, yeah, because at the time they were like the most revolutionary, crazy thing ever, and like everything that they
invented
created,
generic.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're just so ubiquitous. They suffused themselves into everything since, and I think this album is a lot like that as well.
Yeah.
Like you can, like you really have to respect the legacy it's had, but at the same time, like listening to it now, I'm like, I've heard variations on this so many times before, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that's why like from a historical and like influential side, obviously it rates super high. Like from a purely enjoyment side and everything, like again it's good, but it like something about it, like aside from like the hit songs, I'm just like, oh, that was cool. Like I'll probably put like maybe like Invaders and The Prisoner like on my like liked list and stuff, and like maybe Hallowed Be Thy Name. Like all of them are really like, you know, they're good, but it's just a bit like
I
don't know how to describe it.
Hallowed Be My Name played live, and that was amazing. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
This is actually the first time I've listened to this album in its entirety. I'm very much a jump to the greatest hits Maiden guy, so that's why I thought 22.
I think most people
let's
probably
say
are
Avenue,
these days.
Invaders, Children of Damn, Gangland. They were like kind of meh, but when they weren't meh because they got me super hyped. But it wasn't like up there with Number of the Beast and Run to the Hills, obviously, because that's like nostalgia fuel for me. Like I never skip Number of the Beast or Run to the Hills. They never get old for me. I've listened to them so many times in my life. I still love them so much.
Yeah. I feel like Hallowed Be Thy Name is one of my favourite Maiden songs there is. I fucking love that song so much.
It
Just
was
as soon-
alright.
I see.
Dude, when it kicks in and it's got that riff that like, I'm just like, oh, you're just kind of like riding that all the way through until it goes into that sick appearance. It's like, bah, 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 and like Bruce, oh mate, it's so sick that song.
Yeah.
Well, they did have that. There was that cover by Machine Head, wasn't there, on stage?
Oh yeah, there was, and I remember it being
really?
good also. Yeah.
That one was really good as well. Which I mean, it suits. It does not just a case of like Dickinson's vocals like carrying it. It was a case of like it's obviously like a really great underlying song.
Yeah,
that
for
a
sure.
band at the time of Machine Head's size would be like that's the one that they picked. That they wanted to cover. So
Maybe. Yeah.
But
Is that when we saw them live at Download? Or
We saw them live with
I think
Dragon
it was like a.
back in like 2009 or something. We saw them at O2.
no, Machine Head playing it live.
On Machine Head. I don't think
I
I
don't
ever
know if I saw. I don't think we saw them play that live. I think it was like on like one of those albums that comes up with like a.
Metal
Well,
Hammer,
Metal
like
Hammer,
compilation.
yeah. Ah, yeah.
I think it was one of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, that gig was so good though when we saw them being supported by Dragon Force. That was the Final Frontier tour, wasn't it?
Yeah. They
Yeah.
just released Final
I think
Frontier.
that was the first time I'd ever seen them.
Yeah, it was. For,
That's a really weird combination.
Well, it
wonder
was
why they had
Airborne. Every other fucking venue in the entirety of their
Oh
tour
yeah.
had Airborne support them, apart from the UK tour,
Hmm.
which made me sad.
That's so weird. Yeah.
Dragon
Yeah.
Force,
I get to see
think, was
Dragon
still good.
Force,
Yeah, they were
They
still
were
good.
yeah, that was when they
Great.
just got their new singer as well. So they
Yeah.
kind of. Apparently, they just kind of get trashed on stage and play like shit when Josh saw them before that. But they seem to have sorted
Apparently
it
they've
out.
stopped that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
Sam
of
Tottenham
the-
was a nightmare apparently.
Quick plug though, if you guys haven't seen Dragon Force's YouTube channel, you should absolutely watch it because it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
It's so
I
funny.
have not.
They
I've seen.
they
that.
like
So
It's
good.
just
Yeah.
them fucking around.
like once a week they try to make a cover of like a song by another band in like 5 or 10 minutes. So they've done this week they did Five Finger Death Punch, and it's like
Yeah.
and then last week they did a fucking Nightwish song. And it's just like all of the lyrics are just
That was good.
ridiculous. It's just both of them sitting there on Discord to each other, just like Sam Totman, just like,
Yeah.
all right, what the fuck should we sing about? A fake plastic tree? Like,
I love the Ailstorm one where like,
Oh, yeah, they did.
Ailstorm are stupid, aren't they? So why don't we write our lyrics to be even more stupid than stupid? And they ended up writing a song about I don't know peeing in their mouths or something. It was just
it's
so,
like, it's like
know.
fuck a rubber duck.
yeah.
All you say is fuck. We're not from Scotland and we don't really drink that much or something.
The Sabaton one was
All of-
good too.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, they did a Sabaton one. Yeah.
I love war. War is great, or something like that. It's just.
That's so
Oh,
good.
dude. Does anyone want to jump in with some final points?
I had a point. We've been looking the bassist asked quite a lot. I wanted to also say, from a guitarist point of view, he was fucking amazing as well.
Yeah, two of
So
them.
there was 2 of them at this point.
Yeah.
Was it there two? Was it like
Yeah,
Six
well-
currently. No, 6. I mean,
Six
Three.
guitar.
they got
6
3.
or so? It's like
That's a bit
like
much.
shit. They just keep adding them.
Three's a bit much. But
like fucking set
nah. I mean, what I meant to say,
blue eyes for himself. Like Jesus.
they're like no other band shall have guitarists. They will all be in our band.
Just sweep all of them up.
But yeah, I was just gonna say the accuracy that they played all the riffs with was crazy. Listening to it, like because they play everything in quite a staccato-y, like punchy way, where you can tell it's being alternate picked, but it never sounds messy, and it's like even when it's really fast, it's really really accurate. And yeah, I was very impressed with the guitar playing as well. I just wanted to get that in.
Yeah. And one more dick suck from me. This album has aged so well. This was 1982 this came out, and we didn't listen to the remastered version, Greg. I don't even know if there is one. But
Yeah, we
sounded-
listened.
yeah, I
me
did.
and Ben listened to it.
Oh,
I was listening in remasters. What I've been listening to at home.
I don't think I put unless they only have the remaster on Apple Music, which is probably the case.
Yeah,
I'm not
probably.
sure. Yeah, because you said last week that you didn't think there was a remaster, but that's the only one I can find on.
It's
Well, it's the
only
first
'cause
one I
it
can find
doesn't
on
say it
Spotify.
is remastered, but it probably is. Regardless, though,
Anyway, yeah, you're
one
still right.
final suckage.
Have you got any
All
suckage?
the suckage.
Tim, you want to do some
Uh,
suckage?
I
Or
think
some,
I've covered everything, to be
spittage.
honest. But I don't know, like I said, you know, I always used to like Killers, so this album's good, but like, it's not the best.
It
You
wasn't
won't
Killers.
beat your killers.
I think part of it's just down to my PTSD of Number of the Beast from Guitar Hero. I think and because they've named this album after that song, because that's obviously how that works. You know, it's just every time I'm just like, oh no, not again. I just hear it, I can just see the notes
coming.
stuck. Just close your eyes, you can still see the notes.
Yeah.
They're just
no.
coming towards you in your face, like, no.
No, no, no.
Just hear the clacking of a PS2 Guitar Hero controller
Oh, Christ.
echoing down an empty corridor.
Listening to
Like,
probably
no.
a cover.
All you boys that play instruments, is that how you see like your internal instrument when you're playing?
Yeah,
You just
I'm
see
just
like
so hardwired
the
by
note.
my years of Guitar Hero. And
It's coming towards me forever. Yeah.
It's kind of a case
I
of
think that's
being-
how it works.
Not
for you
necessarily
musicians,
coming
right?
towards me, but it's definitely going to the right.
Yeah,
or
it's
the left.
going like
Yeah,
that.
definitely
Yeah.
left. Oh dear.
Full on
Right.
guitar synesthesia, just like trembles whenever you're playing.
Right, let's say final points and then ratings. I'm going to choose Ben. Rate first and final Ting. Let's go.
Final point. Really good. I enjoyed the whole album. To be honest, like there wasn't a bad song on there. Even the ones that I thought were a bit meh were still like good. It's Iron Maiden, like for Christ's sake. Like it's one of those things where like, you know, they like even their worst songs are still good songs. So I couldn't really fault it to that degree. Saying that, like apart from the singles, none of them were like truly amazing personally, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were bad either. Like they were good. It was all good. It just like didn't tickle my areolas in the right way.
Your what?
My areolas, you know, the little bits that are around the nipples.
I call that the burger.
The burger, yeah.
Patty.
Oh.
Hey Claire, let me lick your Krabby Patty.
Oh, no.
I thought this was a classy podcast.
Oh no.
What have you been listening to?
Why you've been watching?
And with that disgusting segue, I rate this album a 7.5 out of 10.
Nice. Alright. Let's go, Tim. Go on, Tim.
Me, I mean, I liked it, but it was like it's like just Iron Maiden, sort of just general Iron Maiden. It's not like the very best of it, and it's not like the like worst of it, because there's some they've produced before which are just not that great. But yeah, I'd put it as like a upper middle Iron Maiden album, so I'd give it like an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Damn.
It's better than I
Alright.
expected.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go 5 or 6 for some reason.
Well, I mean, it's not it's Iron
all
Maiden.
one.
Like, I have to be careful because I remember how much I used to like it, and then obviously I listen to a lot more things now, so it's quite. You have to kind of take a layer of staleness off of it when you look back at it, because you have to remember what it was like when you heard it new.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
True.
I didn't want to be too harsh to it.
I'm going to go in order of how you guys are appearing, so go on, Greg.
Cool. Yeah, I really fucking enjoyed it. That said, I mean, well, on a technical level, incredible. Very impressed by everybody involved. There were a couple of songs that I'm not gonna revisit. Probably the ones that we've already mentioned, like Acacia and
Gangland.
I didn't think The Prisoner was that amazing. Yeah, Gang, but you got to respect it from a historical point of view. And I did enjoy it. When we listened to it on the car, I was having an absolute blast all the way through. But that said, I probably am going to go back to it just being on my shuffle. I don't think I'm going to give this album another listen in its entirety. So for all those reasons, I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Oh, you have to beat Tim, don't you?
Yeah.
Alright, go on, Kyle.
So yeah, I was thinking to myself like I'm really going to struggle to rate this because obviously it's such a classic, revered album. I thought I really need to take into account what Tim said, which is went through a huge Maiden phase when I was younger, and played them to death, and now I still enjoy them, but it's like okay, I've had this a million times, sort of thing. And also, I feel like Maiden hadn't hit their like full stride yet. Like Zach said, some people's favorite is Power Slave, and that's 100% my favorite album of theirs. Like almost every single song on that album fucking slaps.
It is amazing.
It's so good. But this is also a really good one. Especially, you can't discredit the fact that Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills, Hallowed Be Thy Name, and like arguably Children of the Damned are still like mainstays of like heavy metal, and people lost their fucking mind for that shit back then and still do like 40 years later. Yeah, Maiden got better for me later on as they went because Zach, they got more proggy.
Oh, they did. On their latest album, they've got a 18-minute long song, a 10-minute long song, and a 13-minute long song.
Ooh.
All of which don't need to be that long. The Red and the Black does not
long.
need to be 13 minutes long.
I feel like even Power Slave like has Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which is 13 minutes long. Like,
yeah.
Back then they had like 7-minute long songs, like fucking.
It's because they've realised that prog is the best music.
I mean, even on this album, they don't really stick to a very like verse chorus structure a lot of the time. They have like all sorts of little cool instrumental interlude bits. But yeah, anyway, I digress. I think given contextually how important it is and how great it is, but also by how much I don't really care for it that much anymore, except for the classics, I'll give it like a 7 out of 10.
Nice. Well, I am glad that I have all your opinions for the video that I will probably never make, but I am planning on. I really enjoyed this album in the car. We had it very loud, and I was driving, and when Number of the Beast and Run to the Hills came on, obviously, I was just like in my element. I just love singing along to those songs very badly. But yeah, I'd never actually listened to the album in its entirety before, and 22 Acacia Avenue was a bit meh. In fact, that was probably the only song I didn't really like. All the others were like really good. But yeah, it's got like this. It's not as good as people make it out to be, in my opinion. But I can imagine back in the day. I mean, my dad said when he heard Number of the Beast for the first time when he was like our age, he shat brick. So he was just like, "This is fucking amazing! Oh my god!" So obviously, you got to take that, as you say, history into account. So
yeah,
I mean, I'm gonna give it a 8. A 7. No, an 8. 7.5. My first point something. Oh my god. 7.5 because
1.5, bro.
it's still amazing and it was a great time, but I was expecting more. But that might just be because I have just listened to the hits for so long that they stand out way more than the other songs.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like 90% of bands are like that though, aren't they? Where like each album has like the greats.
Yeah.
But it's rare that you really find an album that's great all the way through.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but when I find a new band that I find out is like 40 years old, I always just go to their hits because traipsing through like 15 hours, 15 albums is long. But,
especially this prog.
Yeah. I think the last band I did that was Scorpions because they headlined Bloodstock, so I listened to like their greatest hits. and the greatest hits was good, and I'm pretty sure their other fucking 50 albums are all right, but sometimes you just need to. You just don't have the time. Album number 2 is Tim's album, Gang Gang Dance, Eye Contact. Tim, take it away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going on the theme of the word gang being where it doesn't really necessarily make sense.
Hey. The new
That's the
gang
best
where it
segue I've
doesn't
got.
necessarily make sense, Web.
Yeah. Gangs, but not where you expect them. So, Gang Gang Dance are a pretty weird, what do they call themselves? A band or a collective? I'd say they're more of a band, but who knows what they call themselves. They've been around for quite some time, actually. This is the first I've come across them with this album. And
2001, wasn't it? I looked it up just before we started.
It's been around for quite some time.
It's a hot
Alright.
Yeah, but they're one of those
Oh
one of
Jesus!
those kind of bands. You're right.
I literally fell onto my bed.
The explosive trivia, like the knowledge that they started in 2001, just knocked Ben off his feet.
First
I've
one.
never heard of them. That was a good year, possibly.
Tim, where are they from?
They are from New York City. Says on Wikipedia. This is all going on Wikipedia because I literally know almost nothing
Nice.
about them as a band. I know this album, and that's about it.
How did you find this out?
So, my flatmate, second year of uni, was just like, "Oh, there's this new album out by so and so." Like,
Oh, why was he flat? Did he get crushed by a car?
Yeah, something like that.
Shut up!
Terrible. I found it better when his camera didn't work.
Yeah, get back to not working. So anyway,
so-
fat mate.
My flatmate just put it on one time. Him and my other flatmate were into like reading all the new stuff on Pitchfork and all that kind of stuff, all brand new music, all stuff basically I've never heard of. So I'm still listening to Number of the Beast at that point, and Slayer and all of Megadeth's albums just on loop basically.
Yeah.
So we used to just hang out, play PS3. It was Battlefield 3 at the time. He just chucked this entire album on in its entirety in the background. And, I kind of vibed with it when I was
Fucking Battlefield 3 would be a little bit weird.
Yeah.
It is,
You're
yeah.
just super chill, firing shots. Like.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I was kind of. It has. Well, that's what's good about this album. It's a bit more upbeat than just a chill album.
It really
Like,
makes
there
you
is
feel like you're in the trenches. Like fucking.
Yeah, I,
Yeah,
mean, I understand why you went from Megadeth to this after while playing
instantaneously.
Battlefield.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a vivid memory I have of it. This is the first time I heard it, and
That's
pretty
cool.
much got it after then, and I just started listening to it. Like, again, it's one of those ones that it's sort of shuffled into everything. I don't really listen to albums in their entirety, so it was just all shuffled into everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and after time, kind of, I think this is an album that definitely grows on you. It's like at first you can listen to it, you go, what is it I'm actually listening to here? What's going on? It's just kind of an album that seems very random and what's the word they use? The phrase avant-garde. Yes.
Avant-garde. Yeah, I said that.
Yeah,
earlier.
that's something that they are kind of known for doing. This is like I'd say their biggest album. Certainly
So
at the time.
that song specifically, Mind Killer, had quite a lot of views and listeners.
It has a lot of views, which is kind of. Well, I mean, because obviously I came across the album as an entire thing, but I think they used Mind Killer on a TV program or something. I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but they'd use it for that, and then everyone's like, as they do on YouTube, like if you're from so and so, or where you've come from wherever.
So in the comments, like if
Yeah.
you're watching this in 2020. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Subscribe.
But yeah, it's one of those kind of albums. I think that actually it works as a kind of collective piece because it all flows one onto the next. I already know from my previous comments that I'm going to get done with the hypocrisy hammer for this, being as the first track is literally 11 minutes long. and I spend all my time in the comments complaining about how long all the songs are on some of the other albums. Like, I think Opeth, I was just like, yeah, it's all right, but it's just way too long. It's like it's made its point and it outstays its welcome. And I'm just like, for my album, I'm going to suggest has an 11-minute opener.
Yeah, it's an 11-minute opener with some weird lady in the background, like for like half the song.
She has a very strange vocal style.
Is she? What language is she singing in?
It's all in
English.
Her own made-up language.
That's English.
yeah.
She does.
That is English. Yeah, I literally said the exact same thing earlier. I was like, Kyle, what language is this woman speaking? And he looked up the lyrics, and it's all English.
I was sitting there reading the lyrics out to him as he was listening, and he was cracking up because there's just no similarity at all.
I have not read the lyrics, so I don't even know. I just go. I'd like. It's a bit like Ozzy Osbourne when it. There isn't real. Yeah, there isn't. They
See,
what do they call it?
I thought it was like
Deconstruction,
Asian or
isn't it?
something. Like some kind
There
of
is
Asian
a-
language.
I mean,
She
some
does
bits
have
are
a
like in
Eastern
Chinese High. There's some Chinese, I believe.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
samples of Chinese.
And,
No,
and in
I
the
also-
Infinity Symbol song, he's speaking Spanish.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's why I was like, what language is this? Because there's.
Yeah, there
like,
is.
oh no.
I think if you listen to this and you're confused, I think that's kind of what they were going for.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
one of
they-
my
they-
notes was. This is.
Avant-garde.
Yeah, one of my notes is what the hell were these musicians smoking and/or injecting to come up with this stuff?
Oh yeah, they were. They're pretty
That was
deep
an-
into that.
You,
That was a
you,
note I
you
had.
ever done DMT?
I wrote down, this is drug music, but I don't know which drug.
Yeah, this is like
Yeah.
it's like fucking peyote or something music.
Yeah.
This is like you fucking stumble into the Chinese wild wilderness and find like some guy living out there by himself licking toads music.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
do
is
you remember
like,
that episode of The Mighty Boosh where the guy has a big door in his like afro and a hand comes out? That's this.
it's like that Chinese
That's
herb
so
that,
legit.
cold ones were smoking that time.
Oh.
That's what happens. That's such a weird video. So
Did
they had
did
like
they get high from it?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't even think they knew what it was. It's probably just some like loft installation.
Oh.
I mean,
Bit of asbestos never hurt.
it's
Tank acid.
Wish, isn't it? You could get anything.
Oh yeah, I've seen that episode where they just smoke.
Smoking
stuff.
crack pipe.
Oh dear.
God damn it.
So, to give a kind of background for this album, like the previous album they produced had, had parts of dubstep and grime to some extent in there, amongst other things. They had Tinchy Strider on one of their songs.
What the fuck?
No way.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know this before I was looking it up for this.
I reckon he fell for the gang in the wrong place thing. Like he saw it as like gang.
It's very possible.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they just asked him to record something and then just slapped him over the top of a track, or whether he was actually like in the studio with them. I imagine not, because it would just been like, "What's happening?"
And then
He
Psy
just
came in
drugged
and did
him up
Gangnam
so
Style.
fucking hard that like he had no idea where he was.
Oh my god, that's another one.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so they described the previous album as soundscape dance rock, more artful than arty, which is what
Art. More
Yeah.
artful than arty. That's a
Pretentious.
that's what a critic described it as. That's, you know, they don't like to describe themselves as anything. I don't think.
That's not.
But so I could have recommended that album had I actually listened to it before, but instead I went for the one that I knew. So I thought, you know, this one's more coherent because I did listen to it, the other one a little bit. It's a little bit all over the place, like even more
This
so.
one's more.
It is, honestly. The fact that it sort of flows together and it has a similar vibe is, you know, something compared to the previous album. That is,
Yeah.
I don't even know what's happening on that one.
I was gonna say, yeah, me and Ben said whilst we were listening to this, we were like, what genre would you call this? And I struggled to put like a nail down on it, because it's like, I'd say it's like electro with bluesy funk, Far Eastern influences. Like,
Yeah.
That rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
yeah, that's literally. You can't summarize them in any succinct.
On their
Avant-garde
Wikipedia page,
elect-
one of their previous albums is described as anti-music.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really help, but
No, it doesn't.
Music.
Anti-music.
Well, you wanted me to recommend an album, so I just like, well, that's probably like one of the ones I
Yeah.
like quite a lot, but that's really weird. So that'll be interesting.
that's
Well,
exactly the kind of album I want for the podcast. Like, genuinely, the weirder the better.
Speaking of Tim's recommendation, I spent the first fucking Irishman arse Lord of the Rings extended edition arse intro track expecting the fucking
Feature length.
I was expecting some Tim bullshit. I was expecting some like Dark Main, or no, not Dark Main. That's a YouTuber.
Ghost Man.
Ghost Main, fucking weird shit to come in.
Rap
And
dropping,
I was
and it
just
never
like,
did.
Some,
It's
some
coming.
fucking Lil Uzi Vert or something.
It's coming, and it never came. And I think, Tim, you've got inside my head, because I was expecting like some bullshit like that I was really gonna hate, and because I didn't get that, I actually kind of didn't hate this. Because I was
Put you on the
expecting
back foot.
something worse.
I had the exact same experience.
Yeah, same.
Your mind well done on the 4D chess, Tim. You've tricked us.
Greg, me and Ben
Honestly.
actually listened to it for the first time with you, didn't we? We listened to Mind Killer when you stayed over.
That's probably my
you
favorite
talking
song
to
on
me?
the album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was.
I
And we were all sitting there like, this is not what I expected, but I'm pleasantly surprised.
Well, the funny
Yeah,
thing is that
I genuinely enjoyed the whole album.
when I put it out there, and then everyone goes, "Oh, Gang Gang Dance," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I suppose it does sound a bit like that," because obviously I only know them for this album, so it doesn't even occur to me that that's their name. I was just kind of like, "Yeah, it's just a name." Everyone goes, "Oh, it says gang in it twice," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that is a kind of a trope of modern music, I suppose." But like
Yeah.
10 years ago, that wasn't really a thing.
Yeah, so they basically invented Gang Gang, which is like.
It's
dickheads
like
say
every
that.
rapper.
Accolade in of itself.
Gang gang.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just a weird coincidence that they have that in their name, but they're also actually good.
Well, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, going through the album. I mean, like I'd say a lot of the songs are similar vibes. There's a few that are a little bit more laid back, a few that are a little bit more up tempo. The Infinity songs are a bit like
They're just like interludes.
Interludes, aren't they? Yeah.
yeah, they're like interlude, but I guess I didn't want to call them that because that would be too obvious. So Infinity, because Infinity has no start and no end, which in reality is what they're doing by linking tracks together. They don't want the music to ever like finish or end or something. I don't know.
No,
I
I
don't
think
know
you're
what
giving
they
them
were
too
going
much
for
credit.
with that kind of name.
That's way too much credit now. They just thought it'd be funny to put the infinity symbol. And it's like, oh, people won't know what to call it.
If that was the case, Tim, they
Whoa.
should have just called it glue, 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 and glue, glue, glue.
How the songs are stuck together.
Duct tape, sticky tape, tape, tape.
Skit 1, skit 2, skit 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently, the song "Glass Jar" was about a vocalist, a former vocalist who was struck by lightning.
I saw that on Wikipedia,
He
yeah.
was, killed and struck by lightning. Yeah,
He was sitting on a rooftop watching a lightning storm. And it got him.
and then who knew? Who
I mean,
knew that
even
was a
that's
bad idea?
unlucky, to be fair.
He died?
I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, apparently so.
Jesus.
And that's
It
what
is
the entire
Wikipedia.
Glass Jar was about, apparently, because it's like
Mhm.
The thing
That's
is,
I
with
don't
Glass Jar specifically, I've put like... after like 7 minutes it kicks in and then it's really cool. And like mathy. But the
Yeah.
first like 7 minutes are just really strange and trippy.
I'm not gonna lie, it didn't feel like 11 minutes to me. I genuinely was sitting there like there was enough to appreciate that it felt like I didn't get bored. And yeah, we're at like 6.5 minutes in when it kind of drops and gets a bit more upbeat. That really, I enjoyed that. I thought it was almost like two different songs.
I thought
it
it
does
was
have
two
quite a
different
nice
songs.
build up.
Mm.
But yeah, I normally when I listen to that, I skip the first 4 minutes straight off the bat because I mean, who's really got that much time on their hands? So even at 7 minutes, it's still quite long.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you want to listen to something, you're like generally speaking, you want to get as close to the drop of the song, and then you kind of like listen to the build up, and then you have the part you came for almost.
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe that's just me, but
no, I get that. I
the
sometimes skip to like good parts of songs just because I want to listen to that one bit. And I'm like, shit,
I mean, if you
5 minutes, fair skip to the end.
Yeah. I think if you're feeling the vibe, you'll be like, yeah, I listen to the entire thing. But then other times you're just like, I want to listen to him a little bit, but not like I don't have all day about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any points then? Go on, Carl.
Yeah, I've got a few things to say. First up, the album art makes me uncomfortable.
What is it? An insect?
Oh, I didn't actually look.
It's fucking weird, whatever it is.
Is that under a microscope or is it like an artwork?
I think it's made out of bubbles or something.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
I don't really
So
know.
the insect is covered in like little droplets.
Oh, it's covered in dew.
Dew.
Could be.
But yeah, it's creepy and gross though. Like it. What was I going to say? The songs all had like kind of different vibes. For the most part, I think they all dropped into like sort of the more like Eastern-oriented, Indian-y stuff. Chinese High had a couple really like 80s disco-y, retro-y vibes to me. Ben was sitting there actually just singing £1 Fish to that song. Like £1.99,
No, it wasn't. You're making me sound like a racist, Kyle.
It's not racist, it's a hit song.
That's what he sounded like when he sang that song.
What did he sound like?
Bit of a cheap £1 fish.
That's a classic song.
Anyway. Romance Layers was also super 80s disco-y. I feel like some of the bass lines were super cool and the instrumentals were really interesting. Like the synths are really nice. And I feel like some parts were too long. And I also feel like I actually would have preferred this song if it didn't have vocals. Or any like the album without vocals. I don't feel like her vocals added anything to this album, if I'm honest.
They were very strange.
I don't feel like she was like an instrumental accessory to just add volume to the songs. I feel like if anything she distracted from what was going on with the songs and was just kind of she just to me it sounds like, you know, when you're walking down the street and there's a bunch of buskers and then there's just one crackhead like just fucking dancing in front of them and won't stop singing
just
and
vibing down.
They're like vibing.
Hoping that they go away. That's what this sounds like. She's like the crazy lady with a trolley who's just rocked up next to them and started belting shit out, you know.
I got more of a Crystal Castles vibe from her singing.
Oh yeah, but Crystal Castles, that chick's probably on loads of drugs as well. Like...
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, their first album was recorded without her knowledge because he was stalking her.
What?
Yeah, Crystal Castles are hilarious. He was stalking her, and he recorded her speaking without her knowledge, and then like mixed it into an album, and that was their first album. So yeah, like it similar in the crackheadishness of like how it fits into the music. But I don't know. I felt the vocals were adding something to it. I don't know.
Yeah, they definitely stood out. I couldn't really like put my finger on it. My favourite parts were the piano segments and the melodies in that was just really good. I also said that the one thing that kept coming back to me was the Celeste soundtrack. This sounds like the Celeste soundtrack. I don't suppose if anyone's ever heard that, but it's fucking
like
amazing.
Very old school game stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like,
but also with like other instruments too in it.
Chinese High specifically gave me really retro game vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Greg.
Well, A lot of what we've been saying already. Yeah, it's really hard to pin down exactly what this was. I got loads of varied like influences from it. Like I think probably the most salient of them was Crystal Castles. I felt a lot throughout it, but in other places, like the last song, Through and Through, I really got Infected Mushroom vibes. If you guys ever listened to Infected Mushroom, I know you have, Gar. And they also have that like Arabian sounding sort of Eastern singing like vocals where they're very up and downy all the time. So there was, that I felt a lot. Also,
I've never actually listened to Crystal Castles or Infected Mushrooms, so.
Well, then this means fucking nothing to you, but I assure you.
I'll have to recommend some Infected Mushrooms later because they've got some slappers.
Yeah, they're on my list. Also, in Glass Jar, I almost thought it sounded a bit synthwavy. I got those like 80s vibes, a little bit like Gunship in places.
Yeah. Got that.
And during Glass Jar, I was too busy waiting for fucking Ghostmane to come in, so.
Bracing yourself for impact.
Yeah, I was literally like, where is
When's
it?
it gonna happen?
Where is it, Tim? Come on.
Were you doing the washing up for that one?
I was.
Just like washing me, like, no, don't get jumped when he comes in.
Driving and washing up, that's when I listen to the most of my music.
It's coming.
Oh dear. Oh, Ben. Hello.
So, I mean, like, my first interaction with this was when we listened to Mind Killer, and I instantly hated it. It just really, like, I was just like, what is she saying? What is she doing?
She's killing your mind.
What is going on? Like, and it was really, really like, I mean, very avant-garde. And then once it actually gets into it,
the novel Dune.
What's that?
That song, it's a reference to the novel Dune, Mind Killer.
Oh,
Jira
really?
is the Mind Killer.
Oh, I know that quite. Yeah.
Which I'm reading at the moment. That doesn't necessarily make it any better.
They're remaking the film this year, I believe.
And it was also the first RTS video game.
It was.
What was I saying?
All these factoids.
I feel like a lot of their songs kind of do that. They kind of have a bit of a whoa, weird by the way. And then the electronica kicks in, or the electronic kind of stuff like that you actually want to listen to kicks in. And it's like, oh, okay, this is chill. And then fucking the vocalist, like Carl said, just Bjorks her way in, and just like, I'm just like, shut up! Oh my god, you add nothing to this. like it's just. Like, I understand like layering things and like singing to like adds a bit of like artistic flair. Sometimes it feels like people are weird for the sake of being weird. Sometimes
I think your opinion just scared Kyle and Greg off.
I know they both.
Yeah, this is just like, I'm out of this.
They both got up. Imagine if they swapped seats. Like Greg suddenly is in Kyle's seat.
Yeah, they walk across the street. The street like, woo.
Yeah.
We have to do that at some point. It'd be so funny.
God damn.
I guess I'll continue without them. Then I suppose.
I was gonna say if Tim had any counterpoints to what you're saying.
Yeah, Tim.
Well, I mean, it's just, like I said, it's one of these albums you get into over time. Like, first time I listened to it, I was pretty much the same opinion as you guys. Like, what the fuck's happening? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, what's she saying, like, and stuff. Chinese High, the start of it is in Chinese, believe it or not. Well, I had a Chinese friend at university, and I asked him what she was saying, and he says
Right.
she just says, "I'm going to speak Chinese now." That's what that phrase she says over and over again means, apparently.
Really?
Chinese.
I think so. And that's what he said. I don't know if he get it, like if he heard it correctly, everything else, but they said that's what he thought she was saying.
Greg, you've got to
Which
hear
is kind of
this.
like.
Greg,
Yep.
Tim, quickly tell Greg.
So the Chinese High at the start, she's speaking Chinese, and she says in Chinese, according to my Chinese friend, that she just says, "I'm going to speak Chinese now," or words to that effect, just over and over again, and then the song starts, and that's it. There's no more Chinese for the rest of the song.
I'm gonna speak Chinese now. I'm gonna speak Chinese now.
Do you think he would literally just drag somebody in off the street and was like, "Hey, you, Chinese person, be on my album"? Say something.
It's like the equivalent.
She was
of
like, "Hey, I'm gonna speak Chinese now."
It's like the equivalent of British people going abroad and like the only line they actually learn in their language is "Sorry, I'm English."
Sorry, I'm useless. I mean English.
Yeah, sorry, I'm useless.
God damn it.
That's your language. I meant your language, please.
That's actually hilarious.
All right, let's go final points and ratings. Let's go in reverse order this time. Kyle.
Okay, yeah.
Did you
So,
hear that? Okay, cool.
yeah, I kind of liked this album more than I expected to with the name Gang Gang Dance. I fell for the Gang trap.
We all did.
Gang, gang.
And yeah, I felt like it was a bit too weird for me at most of the time. Like it just kind of meandering. It didn't really know what it was doing. Like, and yeah, as I said before, the vocals were just so weird and didn't really add anything to it. So yeah, I think I'll give it like a 4 out of 10 for me.
Kill him.
All right.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I also got snared by the Gang Gang Trap, but I really enjoyed this album way more than I thought I would. I've actually listened to it twice through now and enjoyed it both times. I thought it was... I mean, I like weird music. It was very pretentious, but I like that sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And I was surprised by how layered like the songs were and how much actual originality and creativity did go into it.
Oh yeah, you can't deny that. The originality of it.
Yeah, but I found it quite listenable as well. Like I was surprised by how tolerable the 11-minute opener was, and I was starting to get a little bit like I see what's happening now. Like by the end of the album, I was a little bit used to it. But overall, the only real like negative I wrote down was there was a bit of an anticlimactic end to the album, and by the end of the album I was like, okay, we're done now, and then the last song happened and I was like, okay, we're really done now.
See, this is the thing actually. There is actually another track.
Dun dun dun.
It's a bonus track on the Japanese edition, because of course it's the Japanese edition that gets the bonus track. It's called Bond, and it's it's a bit different.
Does it really complete
the rest? I don't know if it completes it. I don't know if anything can complete that. You know, with the whole infinity glue they've got going on there.
Yeah.
They don't really want it to end.
Oh, that was my other negative. Was all 3 of the Infinity tracks were pointless, and I could have done without them.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We've established on CHUB Cast that we all hate interludes. So we were just like, interludes bad.
Interludes and skits need to fuck off.
They need to fuck right off, dude. They all suck. All of them, all the time.
Why not just go to the next track? I don't need this.
Yeah. So, Bond is the bonus track. It's, I'd say, almost completely different to a lot of the other songs on the album. It's actually probably one of my more favourite ones. I was kind of hoping it would be tacked on to like the main list for most people, but I guess it probably didn't. It doesn't really matter if you miss it, because you've still got obviously the vast majority of the album. It is an extra track anyway, but if you did like the album, I'd recommend you go and listen to that on stage.
Okay. Well,
it might give you a better ending. I don't know. Maybe it'll make it worse.
I'm gonna give.
I can't tell anyone's reaction to this album, but it's, you know, to be honest, I thought it was going to be a case of everyone like immediately, it's awful, or actually, yeah, I can see the point. I liked it. Like, I didn't think anyone would be much middle ground here. So
yeah. Well, I'm going to give my score as the current version that I listened to, and then I'm going to go away and listen to Bond, and I might add a 0.01 onto it if I really like that track.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll say my favorite tracks of these were I like Sacer, or however you say it, Sacer.
Yeah.
I thought Adult Goth was really good, and Mind Killer I enjoyed. And overall, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Ooh, hot diggity dog. Right, I'm gonna
Hell
go.
yeah.
I'm going. My turn. Me. Like I said, I was expecting like Ghostmane to come charging in halfway through Glassjar, so I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, I guess, when I was listening to it. I don't know if I was feeling in a particularly open-minded mood that day or what, but it was just like, oh, I actually quite like this, especially with the piano parts. It did remind me of Celeste, and Celeste's soundtrack is so cool. But yeah, towards the end, about 2/3 in, I was a bit like, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, let's wrap this up now. So it didn't hold my attention throughout. And obviously the interludes were poo-poo. Mind Killer is in my Zach's bangers though, because I quite liked that track. And I give it a 5 out of 10. Just, tip of the camel's hump, completely average to me. Average not meaning a bad thing anyway, by the way.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
That's right in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah. Some people think average is bad, but...
No. Everything can't be the best, otherwise there'd be no such thing as the best.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone can be Rum Ahoy. Anyway, Tim.
You need the bad.
God, Tim.
Well, I mean, obviously, I recommended this album, so it's obviously an album I kind of quite liked.
Yeah, you mentioned when Kyle and Greg were away that it's a growing. It's like it grew on you over time.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you listen to this just once ever, you'll go, well, that was weird, and then you'll just move on with your life. But I think if you give it, you come back to it when you're in that sort of mood, eventually you'll kind of grow into it. But I don't think it's ever going to be one of those albums you're going to sit down and go, right, I want to listen to this entire album on go. I just don't think it's that sort of a thing. So in a way, it's kind of harsh to them, but I'd say it's more of like a novelty. The album is so different. The Infinities were like kind of meh, kind of nothing. I mean, I agree. Once you know the songs, you can hear like the little bits of where the next song's starting in them. But I don't think to the normal listener that they're really going to get much out of that. So that probably has to mark it down. But otherwise, I really like the album. It's something I listen to when I'm just like walking around. I have to walk like into town or something. So I listen to like a.
It's on PC.
No, it's just I like it on like a nice like clear kind of like sunny day, wandering around to it. It's quite nice. So I mean, I give it 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Nice. Go on, Ben. Last and least.
What could you? Well, speaking of least, I think it's best to completely fucking destroy. No, I'm only joking. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. As like many avant-garde kind of electronic kind of bands, which there's one which I'm not gonna suggest the whole album because I do not want to torture you guys. But there's one single that I need to show you guys of this thing. Whoa, you think this is avant-garde? You haven't heard anything. But so I'm not like averse to any of this kind of stuff. I think the reason why I didn't like it, for the most part, was because there's something about like weird random female vocals that just really irk me, and I don't know why. Like, I think it's because my mum really liked Bjork when I was younger, and I hate Bjork. And this really reminded me of like her vocal delivery and everything really reminded me of it. And I was just like, the whole time I was just like, but like Kyle said earlier, to echo a good point, like the actual instrumentation and stuff, and what Zach said with the piano bits and everything like that were really good. Like, it was really well produced, and I really enjoyed that part of it. I just wish that she just wasn't there, which kind of is a whole point of the band.
Get out of the band.
I'm like, can you just not be in the band, please? And then it would be good.
I'm concerned that you're going to be the next Ricardo Lopez.
What do you mean?
Is it the guy who tried to kill Bjork?
That was a thing? I didn't even know that was even a thing.
Yeah, it's really. Yeah, look it up.
God. No, I don't like her music. I mean, I don't give a shit about her, but her music sucks.
I've never heard of Bjork.
She's
Don't
famous for being weird.
Yeah, don't bother.
Well, Ben, you know how like you go online and on YouTube, for example, I did this once with an Amon Amarth song. I needed to get the instrumental without like his singing. Maybe you could go gang gang dance, eye contact, no vocals on YouTube. It might be there.
I mean, if it's there, then that would definitely bump up the score at least a couple of points for me, for sure. Because yeah, again, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Like the low bits were really chill. Like I think for the most part, like I was doing work at the time, and like it was like I was just on the computer, and I was just like, this is nice and chill. So yeah, I didn't hate it, but the bits I did hate kind of did ruin it for me a bit. So I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 10.
Moonchild, Voyager, Kyle's album number 3. Kyle, take it away now.
So it's a band that Josh showed me whilst we were in the car coming back from Nottingham seeing my parents. They're a neo soul band. I've seen them also. It's like soul from the back in like the 80s, but it's like kind of modern.
They were listed on Wikipedia as alternative R&B, same as Frank Ocean.
R&B, yeah. Oh, really? Oh. Well, yeah, they met at jazz school. They literally were doing jazz studies at School of Music, and then formed in 2011. Have just been going since then. They've got like 4 albums out, and this is their 3rd. I'll be honest, I'd only actually listened to Cure and a couple other songs on this, because me and Josh didn't listen to the whole thing. But I was like, yeah, well, I really like both of those songs, and Josh says they're all pretty similar, so I'll get it on CHUB Cast and see what the boys think as well, because it's a bit of an more out there one, because I keep picking like prog or metal or rock or whatever. So I thought, throw a spanner in the works, boys. So yeah, curious to see what you think.
Nice.
So,
pick someone.
Greg.
Hell yeah. Well, the first thing I want to say is the singer on this album really reminded me of the singer Sapphire, who does the Persona 5 theme tune, and therefore it's already awesome. And I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of the Persona 5 theme tune, which I then went and listened to, which is amazing.
When you told me that in the car on the way to band practice, I totally saw the Persona 5 stuff. I don't know. It was like minus like bass lines and shit, because that's what Persona music's good. Like, do you know what I mean? I know what you mean. Not do you know why?
I mean, I'm not sure all the music resembled it, but yeah, just the singing style really resembled that song. It's called Last Surprise, the song from Persona 5, which is the one that everyone remembers.
Oh yeah.
So you hear it 20 billion times.
Yeah, but it never gets old.
I know, it's crazy.
It's so ridiculously good. Everyone should listen to Last Surprise by Sapphire. It's so good. But yeah, this album was a really interesting listen. It's like I really thoroughly enjoyed it when I put it on and I was listening, and when I was doing something else. So I put it on like as background music when I was writing, or I was like playing a game, or just reading a book or something else. And that is the best way that I can describe this album. It is like the perfect background music. And in a funny way, it kind of links back to, I remember Zach described Frank Ocean as elevator music, and funnily enough, this is listed on Wikipedia as alternative R&B, which is the same as Frank Ocean was listed as, and I disagreed about that, but I totally see it with this album.
I don't see the difference. I don't see the similarities between this and Frank Ocean, though.
You mean you don't see the differences?
Yeah, well, no. They don't really compare to me.
No?
I know they're the same genre on Wikipedia, but like, I don't know. Mind you, I'm not like, don't really know the genre very well, to be fair.
No, I mean neither do I. But I mean, I don't know. I definitely saw similarities, but I felt like Frank Ocean had a bit more variation. I did find with this album a little bit, although I enjoyed it. When I sat down a second time to listen through the entire album, like concentratedly, it did start to feel very samey fairly early on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was my major issue with it. Other than that, like, I think musically and from a vocal point of view, it's really, really good. But yeah, there's no peaks. It's just a flat line throughout for me, like of quite enjoyable. Wouldn't go out of my way to listen to it. That would be my assessment.
Claire also said it was like elevator music. It's very much like a soundtrack more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's really nice, like just chill background music to have, like when you're getting ready or something. Or when
It reminds me of chill lo-fi hip-hop beats to study and relax to.
Oh yeah, but in fairness, I put that shit on all the time still though.
Dude,
yeah,
I
love that. I love that shit.
Dude, I think it's so boring.
Really, I love lo-fi hip hop.
Toby, the guy I used to work for on YouTube, he was like, yeah, because he's a really energetic guy, yeah. And then he sent me all these lo-fi fucking songs to put over his videos, and I'm like, this doesn't contrast with your personality. No, don't make me do it.
You're ruining my image.
Anyway, that's a like, yeah.
Digression.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's just non-offensive, isn't it? There's nothing you can really go, oh yeah, that bit's really irks me when I listen to it. But in that kind of way, I almost feel like it's a little bit like almost safe. You know how like, or if it's sort of like jazzy, there's sometimes they kind of go, all right, I'm going to try something. I'm going to put myself out here. I'm going to try something. This was kind of just like, just a bit safe.
I wrote down this album was as if Gang Gang Dance went sober.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Maybe this is what they do like the morning after, like they wake up and they're just like, oh fuck, alright, do we need to record something? Let's just do something just like a little bit more low energy, like a little bit more like relaxed.
Oh,
the lady with the trolley who was in front of the buskers has like gone and got a cabin in the woods and just learned how to record stuff onto a table.
Just throwing her allotment with no pitter.
Yeah, she's on keto.
There was a few times like throughout this album, like when we got to like later in the album, like Change Your Mind and Show You the Way and Let You Go and stuff, where it kind of sounds like it's going to pick up into something really like crescendo into something, but it just doesn't. Like a few times that there is like a crescendo, it's kind of just the song got a bit louder, but it's still like just as chill as it was before. And it was like, oh, I was really expecting this to kind of build up into something at some point. But no, the whole album is very, very, very lo-fi, like the whole way through. Like
incredibly chill.
I was listening to it, I was like, there's no, like, this is not an album that you sit and you listen to just to listen to that. Like, it's really good whilst accompanied with other things, but...
I think it's one of those things where if you want to vibe or something, you throw the entire album on and you don't really mind what comes on, because you're just like, if you want to listen to that sort of thing, all the songs pretty much will do the same job, but they're just there to provide a variety within the set of things you actually want to listen to.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. In the way that like in the way that it was good, because it was like really easy, really easy to listen to. It also kind of lends it to the fact that like I could not fucking tell you like what the differences in all the songs are. Or like what the difference, like if you were like, oh, what did you think of this song? I'd be like, yes,
the Super Mario
because
reference.
I like
I liked the tone.
I liked the bit where she sung pretty and they had bass in the background.
Do you know what bit irked me the most? It was the song, I don't know which one it was, because admittedly I didn't look at any of the song names when they were on, but it was the one that had the fucking eBay notification come on all the time.
What?
Have any of you bought anything off eBay for it at all? Oh, do I have a phone?
Yeah.
Well, on your phone, I tell you what. Speak amongst yourselves. I'll go get my phone and get the eBay sound up.
Is this like a secret? Is he trying to work in our secret sponsor for the episode? Hey guys, today we're sponsored by
the eBay sound.
only the eBay notification noise, not eBay itself.
Yeah,
You know,
no
we're not that big yet.
It's just a new AOR. I
Just
was
a
gonna
notification.
say,
on
That's
it.
why you
this
guys.
whole album, one of the things I said about it as well, that it was a lay-in pipe song. It's a love making. It's
Oh yeah, this is a baby metal album.
Yeah, I mean, the only sort of imagery it gave me is like kind of wandering around New York on like a crisp, like weekend morning when it's a bit quiet, a bit cold. You can see your breath. That's like the. I don't know. When I listen to music, sometimes I was like, what would be the ideal circumstances to be listening to this?
You're walking through New York and like a crisp morning, and then suddenly you see the woman from Gang Gang dance with a trolley come up to you like.
But you've got your headphones. Like, you can't hear what she's saying, so you're just like, yeah, nice elevator music, crazy lady out there.
Yeah. Then you get a notification from eBay.
I can't hear it.
I was doing that.
Oh, did that keep?
Do it again.
Who's it doing that?
There's a song in this album that has this.
Oh, it does actually.
Yeah,
That is the eBay sound notification sound when someone like outbids you or you win something. It literally. So when I heard that, I was like, "Oh my god, did I fucking bid on something when I was drunk or some shit?" And I like actually checked my phone.
Amazing.
That's the thing. It's like South Park kept saying "Hey Siri" or something, and it just fuck with everybody.
Yeah. That song stood out because I was just like, why has it got the fucking eBay notification noise? Please.
Specific takeaway from this album. You must have been hella bored.
Well, I mean, it didn't help that I was like busy making dinner and rushing about and listening to this at the same time.
Washing dishes.
Yeah, well, Claire said on multiple occasions, because I walked into the kitchen, I was like, "Hey Claire, I still need to listen to Carl's album. Could I put it on?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure." So I turned off Ensiferum or whatever she was listening to and put on this. And on multiple occasions, Claire told me to turn this boring shit off. It's making her want to die. and then I said, "Oh, I'm going to write that as a note and say you said that." And then she said, "No, don't say I said that. It makes me sound like an arsehole." So I've got that in my notes.
So she's gonna see this. But to be honest, like we all take as much liberty as we want with saying if we think something's shit. So.
Oh yeah.
If Claire ever comes on the podcast, I think that she says it's shit when she thinks.
You're allowed to hate whatever you want.
Claire's got on record saying she doesn't want to come on the podcast because she can't handle people criticizing her music. She was like, I love it. I don't care if no one else likes it." Which I can respect. Oh dear. But yeah. Other than that, I wrote that this album kind of made me realize that I don't actually listen to that much chill music. Big shocker there. But it really made me realize that I don't listen to that much chill music. And I just sat down and went, what do I do when I'm in a chill mood? And usually it's like watch telly or put a podcast on. But music-wise, my chill lo-fi hip-hop beats to study and relax to is folk, listening to like folk music. So arguably the opposite of this, like still chill, but like acoustic guitar and shit.
One's like 50 years ahead of one or something.
Yeah, one's more classical, one's more like new.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily actually sit down and listen to chill music that much. Like I say, I only really listen to music while driving these days, which is really bad. But
this was driving, and you were like on like a nice scenic drive along the beach or something, probably quite boring.
Yeah, that'd be quite nice. Depends
driving
if it's sunny.
Or you're listening to this, you just fucking conk out.
Yeah, you just like
Yeah, you
so
have-
it's like so you just start drifting along.
Whenever I've got like an upbeat playlist where it's got like really fast-paced songs, and I just put that on when I'm like driving on the motorway because it's just like, come on, just get me there, please. I hate the M25.
I just want to live.
Everybody ever born in Britain.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah.
For our American readers, the
Yeah.
M25 is shit.
So
The M25 is a bit like Infinity, you know. It's not very good, and it goes all the way around. It comes back around again.
the M25
Yeah.
is the glue
It's the
of
glue that
London.
sticks south
Yeah.
and
You can't escape
The
it.
glue,
No point
glue
trying.
road of London.
Yes. Anyone else got any points they want to throw out there?
I had something I was going to say. Do you remember in several previous episodes we've talked about the joys of like Spotify and Apple Music recommending you an album after you've finished the current album that you're listening to?
Apple Music have only just added that, and I love it.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
we talked about it on Spotify before. And this, when I finished listening to this album, it actually brought me on to another band that I'd never heard of that was a really fucking sick album, which I much preferred to this one. So I thought
Oh,
Oh,
really?
I wanted to mention it. Do you guys know a band called Ripe?
ripe.
No.
careful how you say that.
R.I.P.
Indeed, yeah, R.I.P. They are amazing. They're a little bit like Wolfpack from one of our early
Oh, yeah.
episodes.
That was episode
Very-
2, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're very jazzy and really, really awesome. And I'm probably going to recommend their album at some point. But I found them as a result of this, and I'm really happy about that because they are really cool.
That's a pretty
the-
good thing, yeah?
Yeah, they have a song called Goon Squad that everyone should listen to.
It's like us.
We're a goon squad. We were
Good squad.
Yeah, that was my final note.
Yeah. Has anyone here listened to... I definitely... Do you remember when I said we should cover this song, and it was a song by Dodie, and it was Guiltless? She's like,
Oh,
the
yeah.
vocalist of this reminds me of
Oh, yeah.
Dodie, which is very like
Did
breathy, like kind of
Yeah.
whispery singing in a way.
it's very
Yeah.
dreamy and ethereal, is what I put.
Yeah,
Very like,
I really
that
love that
nails
kind of
it.
singing so much.
dreamy and
Yeah.
ethereal nails. That's like perfect description.
Yeah.
she-
I think that's why.
Go on, Ben, just say it.
I
Go
think
on.
that's why for the most.
Do it. Do it.
That's why for the most
Anyone
part.
speak over you? Just say it. Just get on with it.
For all you audio listeners out there, Ben has just fallen down.
I think he's okay.
For the most part, I think that's why I really enjoyed like this album quite a bit. Like even though it was quite inoffensive and everything, the vocalist really reminded me of a lot of stuff that I listened to, but just in more of a jazzy scene. So like really like soft, ethereal, kind of like almost like spoken word in some ways. And it's really reminiscent of a lot of like ways how a lot of female vocalists sing in like a lot of dream pop and in a lot of like beach rock kind of bands. Like if you listen to like Beach House or like like any of those kind of like softer indie kind of bands, they have that kind of vocal delivery. It's all like, I don't know why it does things to me. I think it's when I like me and my parents used to listen to like My Bloody Valentine, where they have those kind of vocals. So really good hit my areolas. I
Hit
don't know
your
why.
G spot. G
Yeah.
for
Goth.
goth.
Tickled your pickle.
Yes. So yeah, I quite enjoyed this album.
Nice.
Nice.
Ratings?
Yeah,
Really?
Tim, do you have anything else to add?
Well, the only thing that I did, because this is the first of the albums I listened to, because I knew Number the Beast and obviously my own album choice, so I was like, all right, let's listen to the other one. I listened to it, and about 2 tracks in, I was like, I've picked the wrong album, haven't I? For this week.
There's
I was
definitely an
like-
order of
It's
things to
kinda
do with
similar.
sometimes.
I've kind of picked it, like, this is one of those kind of well done, like, kind of albums where somebody's put a lot of thought into it and it's all done properly and all correctly arranged and structured and recorded and all the rest of it. And then I've just gone like that, but if somebody's just like it's like a nice puzzle set out with 1,000 pieces. Somebody just gone in and rammed other pieces into other pieces that don't really fit. I felt like that was what I've done with my album, and I was like, oh, the contrast is going to be interesting to see how we do. I just wrote down basically because I knew my album. I was going like, yeah, I mean, there's a few bits where it's a bit more not as classic as other sort of like jazzy sort of that sort of music, and I was just like, well, I prefer like some of these other electronic artists that do it a little bit better. Like, I don't know, I almost feel like Flying Lotus, like sort of.
Yeah, they are really good.
Vibes from certain bits of it, and I was like, well, that does like the electronic side more than anything else. But I was just like trying to. Then I realised I was comparing it to Gang Gang Dance. I was like, no, stop.
Yes.
So
bad.
Yeah. So that I guess that's why I probably put it down as a bit more of a safe album that's a bit more kind of ordering because it's just a comparison. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing inoffensive or bad about it. That's a general sort of. The album was almost like one song. It felt like.
Yeah.
Just like one entire thing.
Yeah, it's definitely like comparing it is definitely to a Gang Gang Dance is definitely a big no-no. Because I think that was like what I did wrong with the last episode, I think, when I listened to Greta Van Fleet and then immediately after Opeth. And I realised you shouldn't listen to your pick, then someone else's pick, because obviously that's not going to be a good contrast. Which is why I gave Opeth another listen to later on down the line. So yeah. And so comparing... Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think this album, for me, is probably going to be one of those, like, I'll remember it for where there'll be a time when I want to listen to that, and I'll be like, okay, I'll put it on. Because Gang Gang Dance is definitely more active, sort of chill music, whereas this is a much more relaxed sort of, like I said, I listen to Gang Gang Dance when I'm walking around. Like, Moonchild, I think, is something you listen to when you're, like, sitting down.
Reading or something, when you're not really paying attention.
Or you're, like, standing around waiting for something.
Standing in an elevator.
Yeah, possibly.
Gang Gang Dance is more PvP and WoW, and Moonchild's more questing.
PvE questing, yeah.
The perfect analogy.
Everything can be compared to that. No, that's the gold standard. What action is this in an RPG? Well, I think it's more of a kind of raid boss looting.
More of a kind of casually walking around mining thing.
And then you get like a PvE world boss where Horde and Alliance are coming in and Iron Maiden's playing. Alright. I've got... Oh, go on, Greg. Go on, Greg.
I didn't have anything real... No.
Oh,
no way.
Such a
Yes.
I wrote down, this is what you get when you let the breathy, whispery elves from Lord of the Rings write music. I don't know why. That's like the first thing. I just thought of like, like the Aragorn, don't leave me, please. I know you'll die one day, but I still love you.
Well, it's weird. Well, after somebody else calls it laying pipe music, and then you start doing that, it conjures up some very disturbing images.
Fucking Lord of the Rings cosplay going.
Aragorn, don't leave me. I still feel sensitive right now.
Fucking like Gimli given a lock of the name's hair, and then they bone or something.
And my dick.
my ass.
I asked her for a lock of her hair, and she gave me 3, and also a pussy.
And also a pube. Buy 3 hairs, get 1 pube free. Anyway, should we do ratings?
Moving on. Please move on, please.
Okay, let's go, Ben.
Ben.
This was really nice, easy listening. I really like modern soul and like this kind of genre of music in general. Big musician that I love at the moment is called Celeste, which is weird because we actually referenced the game Celeste today. Yeah. But there's an actual African American musician called Celeste as well. She's amazing. Her vocal delivery is really similar, but it's like that kind of like soft, like neo soul / alternative R&B. really, really good. That might be a recommendation at some point. But
I swear a lot of
yeah,
our
so I
Chub
really
casts
love.
come full circle sometimes. Like,
Yeah,
Weaving our own web.
like everything just fits.
Demons.
Fecal
Fecal
demons. Yeah, we
Demons,
need to
oh.
find all the
We
songs.
did.
with
Tim
fecal
mentioned Fecal Demons earlier.
Yeah, no, I said
Yeah, I slipped
Celeste
in
sing
earlier.
about Fecal Demons.
Oh, she might do. Maybe I'll have to dive into her stuff.
No,
She's
no.
just
I'd be
like,
really impressed if there's a soul singer singing about.
about shit demons. Yeah. Anyway, so like from that, like on the negative kind of side, like a lot of, because it was so like safe and inoffensive, a lot of the songs really melded into one. So probably wouldn't be able, apart from like I think it was literally like the second song on the album, like Cure. I think it's the most popular one. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be able to tell you like the difference between any of them, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think like if individually on the shuffle they came on, I'd be like, oh, this sounds nice. As a holistic kind of thing, it all melded into one, which is great in the background, but for active listening, it's just a little bit dull.
Yeah.
So all in all, I'd probably give this around 6.5 out of 10.
Cool. 6.5. Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I've already pretty much covered all my notes. I didn't make that many notes because it's not a particularly standout album in that sort of aspect. And yeah, decent vibes if you want to listen to it. That's why I just gave it 5 out of 10. Just right down the middle, pretty much.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's kind of like my thinking for your album was just, right down the middle.
Yeah,
Just
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. There's just nothing bad about it, but there's also like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
5's
not
just
my kind
it's average. It's just meh.
yeah.
I don't care for it.
I mean, if you
It's
think
not
about it, like most things should be about a 5 because most things are roughly average. That's what average is
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're not wrong.
statistically.
I'll go. Let's go. I'm going in order of how you're popping up on my screen. So, this is like not really. I don't really listen to chill music. I found out while listening to this. When I'm in a chill mood, I usually play Animal Crossing or something like that. I don't necessarily listen to music. I only really listen to music when I'm like, getting pumped about washing up or something. So,
Does chill music make you angry?
I mean, it made Claire angry. But I don't know. It's not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much to say. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 just because, like,
4 out of 5.
I got through the whole album, and Greg, go on, Greg.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You said 4 out of 5, so I was like, is that an 8 out of 10?
What? Oh, no, 4 out of 10.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I know what you meant. I was like stumbling over my words. That's why I went Greg. Because I was like, Greg. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
Save me.
Sorry.
Go on, Greg.
Yeah, if you're done anyway. Yeah, pretty much what we said already. I did really enjoy it. I would mostly only ever listen to it as background music. Couldn't tell you which of the songs were which. I enjoyed it. It was like one big 45-minute song. And I would give it... It's difficult because I did enjoy it, but also as a whole album, there's really nothing to say about it. Like I say, it was just one big song, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
Fizz, brav.
Go on,
Wow.
Kyle.
For
Send
me,
us off.
yeah. I mean, I already knew I'd like this album. I think the fact that it's normally for an album is like an actual full album listening experience, I'd really discredit it for sounding the same all the way through. But in this case, I think it's like the songs are like slightly different enough that it's got a little bit of variety. And I think if any single one of them came on whilst I was on shuffle or something for me, I'd be happy to listen to them. So yeah, the fact that it's inoffensive works in its favor as well. And I just really like to listen to a lot of chill music, to be honest. Like, it's what I listen to most these days. I only really listen to like metal and stuff when I'm either listening to a whole album or when I'm like playing a game or something. So yeah, like chill music's what I do when I'm working, which is unfortunately most of the time.
Yeah.
So so yeah, with that said, yeah, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's pretty good. It's nothing really super special, but it's just nice, man. It's nice to listen to. It's very
It's
chill.
just pleasant.
Yeah, exactly.
It's dreamy and aether. No, what was the word?
Ethereal.
Ethereal. That's it.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the outro segment of the podcast. So we want you to get involved. So these next few albums that you are going to hear, they will be in the description, pinned in the comment section on YouTube, and we want you to listen to them. Go on, Ben. What's yours?
Haha! Well, this is an album that's literally just recently come out. It's by one of my favorite newest bands that I've seen, that I haven't seen yet live, but I want to so badly. It's their third studio album through Partisan Records, and it is Ultra Mono by Idols.
Okay. Ultra Mono by Idols.
He's got the actual album sitting over there.
I do. I have the actual, so I can present that at the next CHUB Cast.
Fuck, it must be good.
Okay. Greg.
Well, because me and Kyle have extremely similar music tastes in a lot of ways, I'm going to recommend one that I already know that Kyle is a fan of. A band that I've been listening to for a long time. I was really pissed off that we didn't really get to see their full set at Download last year. They are those Australian boys, 12 Foot Ninja, and their album Machine.
Sorry, say that again. Say the album.
They're called 12 Foot Ninja. The album is Silent Machine.
Silent Machine. Awesome. Nice. And Tim.
Okay, so do you want me to do it?
Just say Ghostman. Fucking say it.
Go
All
on,
right.
Tim.
Become the meme.
Lean into the meme. Do whatever you want, Tim.
I will pick Noise by Ghostman.
Let's go! Let's go! Oh, wait.
Oh no, there it is. There it is.
It's 12 tracks as well.
Ghost what?
Ghost
12 tracks.
What's
I'm
the
so
album?
happy.
It's called Noise. It has slashes in between each of the letters.
Oh, okay.
Of course it does.
But if you just type in Noise, it will come up.
Well, this is the only chance I'll ever get to listen to Ghostman proper by my choice. So
Claire's gonna be so pissed off with you though, because
Yeah.
she's gonna be like, stop listening to this bullshit. And then the next week,
Well, I did pick the most metal of the album,
oh, okay.
Okay.
which
Oh,
isn't saying
I
too
can't
much.
wait.
But yes, it's the most recent album. There's another one coming out soon, which is experimental type stuff. But this one's just a bit more. I think this is mostly what I saw when I saw him live. It was more kind of metally, with obviously standard trap rap tropes in there. A lot of mentions of black magic and that sort of thing. So.
How many albums does Mr. Main have? Like, how long has he been going?
Mr. May.
Mr. Main, yeah. He's produced quite a few. Yeah, the only ones I really know of, there's about 3 or 4. But it's kind of hard because with rappers, they tend to release like EPs every now and again, which will just be like 4 or 5, and then another one will come out, and then if you type albums into Google, it'll just give you all of everything.
Yeah. I just went on to one of his most recent releases, and the top comment was, "I think he's low-key tricking trap listeners into becoming metalheads." So...
Yeah. It's the closest thing you'll get.
So I mean, it might not be so bad.
I have
Fucking
no idea what to expect.
It says trap metal, doom metal, hip hop, hardcore.
I don't know what to expect here.
The other choices was this or the algorithm, but you know.
Oh, dude, the algorithm.
I had to do it for the meme because we're being too nice to these artists all the time. You guys are just sitting there being like, "Oh, it's nice. It's nice listening to." I was like, "Let's be controversial."
He has 8 albums,
Yeah.
and he's only been going since 2015. He had 2 albums in 2015, 3 in 2016, 1 in 17, 1 in 18, 1 in 2020.
God.
Clearly,
He's
he's putting
not-
a lot of effort into each of those albums.
He's not quite King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, though, is
Well,
What?
they
Not
are
everyone can be.
they're on another level of consciousness. Like, we can't understand. They're,
Anyway.
What?
So, those are the 3 albums. Ultra Mono by Idols, Silence Machine by 12 Foot Ninja, and Noise by Ghost Main. Please give all 3, 2 of them, 1 of them, any of them a listen. And write your review down in the comment section on YouTube. Use the hashtag CHUBView on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Well, maybe not Instagram. That's a more picture thing. But speaking of Instagram, follow us on all of our socials down below. I did forget as well, you can send your reviews to chubtheband@gmail.com.
we will totally check it.
Yeah, well, actually, I've got the and it all set up on my mail app, so it comes
Nice.
through. It comes through.
Nice.
Yeah. Other than that, did I miss anything out there? I don't think so. Socials, all good shit. Thank you, Tim, for being in the podcast. And
Yeah,
You're welcome,
he will
man.
be in
Thanks
the
for
next
having
one.
You're definitely Tim of the week, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your continued support.
you won't thank me next week, that's for sure.
Well,
It's like, and this is the last time you let me on it. Goodbye, get out, good riddance.
Oh, dear.
Goodbye.
oh, no more guests.
Well,
You won't have guests anymore.
and remember, if this podcast gave you a chub, then
Like,
Yes.
Subscribe.